All right, I think we'll get started. So hopefully everyone can hear me clearly. You can probably hear this in my voice. I'm pretty excited to get this webinar kicked off here with CDW and Dell with a fireside chat with the captain of the Canucks, Bo Horvat. So thank you so much for attending. I can't believe we're into December already. I appreciate you joining us this afternoon. I'll probably just get things kicked off with an agenda, some housekeeping items. So I am going to provide just a quick background on the partnership with CDW and Dell and the relevance there. And then we'll have Jody speak specifically to the Dell product offering in PowerStore on or about 10 minutes, I believe. And then the exciting part, myself and Peter Hunter will get to have the fireside chat with Bo. Of note for housekeeping, as if you have any questions, feel free to throw them into the chat. Also, we have a Q&A dialog box there, so feel free to input your questions there. And just FYI, we did receive a bunch of questions in advance of this event, so we're going to go through those. We'll try to address some in the chat line, and we'll get through as many as we can with respect to the time that allows. So looking forward to it. So maybe we'll start off quickly with some introductions. For those of you that don't know myself, I'm Rob Henlotsky. I lead the BC branch on behalf of CDW. I've been with the company here for over a decade in various incarnations, formerly managing Alberta and the Prairies. So I very much look forward when things hopefully return to normal in the not too distant future to get to see some of you in person. With that, I'll let Peter Hunter introduce himself real quick.
Hi, I'm Peter Hunter. I'm the manager of architecture in British Columbia for CDW Canada. I oversee our pre-sales architecture team, and we help customers with cloud infrastructure, hybrid network solutions. And yeah, I work really closely with Rob, and I look forward to talking with some of you possibly after the call.
Perfect. Maybe have Jody just quickly introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Jody Hoagland. I'm the lead global technical evangelist for Dell EMC Corporate, specifically focused on PowerStore. So I handle all of the technical conversations with our partners and customers globally, with a specific focus on PowerStore and up and coming storage technologies.
Thanks so much. So Jody, if you can advance one slide, I'll quickly start with the CDW Dell introduction. So really just wanted to provide some context with respect to the partnership between CDW and Dell. It is a very close partnership, tight partnership, and certainly a leading one. Dell is CDW's #1 partner in Canada. Not coincidentally, CDW is Dell's #1 partner in Canada. So whether that's the overall partner, new business partner, storage partner of the year, something that we're very proud of. Something also to note, we are one of 4 titanium black partners in Canada with Dell Technologies. And obviously, with respect to these accolades, a lot of that has to do with revenue and such and sales volume. But as to the next slide we'll speak, there's a significant amount of work with respect to certifications and accreditations, both with respect to our sellers, but even more importantly, our technical staff, so that we have that technical acumen for that tight partnership on delivery. Thanks, Jody. So just in that vein, the #1 point in terms of differentiators are our competencies. CDW has competencies across the entire Dell portfolio. So whether it's HPC, whether it's client computing, whether it's data center, servers, storage, network, what have you, we have that competency across the board. The other key differentiator, #2, is our technical staff. Of note, we have 290 plus technical engineers at CDW Canada. That represents about a third of our coworkers, which is significant, and they hold over 500 plus Dell certifications across the country. Third point is on services. We've generated over 50 million in professional services in concert with the Dell team. And fourth, coverage. So I've mentioned that a significant amount of our staff are technical in nature, over a third. We also have 260 plus sellers across the country to work with your teams to work towards solutions. And the other data point I want to bring across is that we have, in addition to the remote sellers, We have brick and mortar offices in 9 cities across the country. Our goal was to actually have an office in every city that the NHL has a team. We've exceeded that in BC, so I don't know, hopefully Victoria will get an NHL team here in the not too distant future, but that's something we've accomplished to, again, provide that local contact point and a local office where you can work with sellers and with technical staff. And so with that, I'll pass it off to Jody to provide a background on the Dell PowerStore portfolio.
All right, thanks, Rob. So yeah, as we take a look at PowerStore and kind of jumping into here, I'll give you a little bit of a quick background on the product itself, and having Bo on the phone and talking about winners, right? This is it's a pretty good combination of Michael Dell, leading the largest technical conglomerate in the world, and really focused on innovation and being able to change the game in an industry. And that's a strong focus that Michael Dell and the executive staff at Dell Technologies have, when it comes to PowerStore, is being able to take this massive growing landscape of data. Data is changing in so many different ways. Some interesting conversation kind of coming into this specific WebEx session, and kind of bouncing things off of Bo and making comments about analytics and being able to check what's going on in real time in a game situation. And that type of data drives storage consumption. And that storage consumption is putting pressures on IT infrastructure teams. And then also on the other side of the spectrum, you've got these growing landscapes of operations where developers, people that for most cases really just kind of interacted with IT teams, just saying, hey, I need something, can you deliver it to me? And you'd say, yes, I can, and I'll get to it. When I get to it, I'll let you know. But that landscape's completely changed. We're seeing more of a dynamic of in real time, developers, coders, programmers saying, we want direct access to infrastructure to be able to make changes dynamically, stand up, tear down infrastructure, and do things more on a real-time basis. And so that was some of the foundational concepts that went into the development of PowerStore. And as we brought this new storage array to market, we had these design principles that we were building upon. And we came up with 3 core pillars that really kind of talk to all of the aspects of the platform. And it's data centric, it's intelligent, and it's highly adaptable. So when you talk about being able to make those power plays, for lack of a better term for Bo, I'll throw that out there, see if I can get some accolades, considering I'm from South Alabama, and we don't play a whole lot of hockey. It's not cold enough, but I'm a big fan and I'm really excited to be on this call. So when we look at the data-centric landscape of PowerStore, there's some core pillars that we want everybody to understand. And that's, that we can support any type of workload. If it's your fiber channel, iSCSI block level workloads, we can support that. If you have those NFS, SMB file shares, file services, we can support that. We can support full NVMe connections, into the host and inside of the infrastructure. This is a system that's designed for maximum availability, 6 nines of availability. So this is a completely enterprise designed architecture. There's no single point of failure. This system actually underwent the most robust testing and integration phase of any system in Dell Technologies history. Right? So it is a very, very robust and strategic platform. Extremely focused on performance and performance optimization. In fact, if you'll note this center bullet here of flash or SCM, we can deliver, flash capabilities with SSDs, but also we're the only player in the industry that can deliver storage class memory as a persistent read and write tier, right? So something that's very net new that we're able to bring, in this, introductory offer to this platform. We just started shipping this box in May, and we're already making all kind of waves with new capabilities and new technologies, surpassing some of our competitors that have been doing this, for 10, 20, and 30 years in some cases, all while delivering robust efficiency, data reduction, being able to guarantee 4-to-1 data reduction inside of the architecture, meaning that you have to buy less. So instead of buying that 100 terabytes of storage, you only have to buy 25, but you're getting 100 terabytes worth, right? So some very cool capabilities in that data-centric architecture. But it's not just about the data centrality and the data focus. We wanted this thing to be really smart. So this is a highly programmable infrastructure, meaning that the application development staff, the operational landscape, The infrastructure is code people. They can fully interact with this array. We have all of the plugins for VMware vRealize automation and orchestration, Ansible integration, OpenStack integration, whatever it is that you would want to do to program against the array or have a plugin to interoperate with the array, it's there. And we've got autonomous capability. So it's not just smart from an external perspective. There's a ton of logic internalized to this system as well. In fact, we can do autonomous data placement within a cluster. That is, maybe you want to create 50 volumes at the same time. The cluster is smart enough to know, hey, I'll create your 50 volumes and I will put each of those volumes in the right place within the cluster for you. Right? So it's kind of a hands-off management landscape, which makes it very easy to operate and understand. Now, the proactive health analytics, this kind of plays into that understanding of, hey, in real time, what's going on with my infrastructure, and being able to check that, whether you're sitting in a hockey rink or whether you're sitting on the beach, or whether you're up in the mountains somewhere, it doesn't matter. Right? This is a complete free offering that's bundled in with all of our primary storage arrays, and now with PowerStore, that you can literally from your mobile device log in to the support center and see all of the trending analytics, statistics, and data about what's going on in your array in real time. What is the capacity growing like? What is the performance scalability looking like? How much runtime do you have? Health scores, are there any things that you need to take a look at? Are there challenges or problems? We do all of that, and that's actually, it's part of the bundle. It's part of the solution. It comes with it. So it's a very nice offering to be able to have that proactive analytic look at your storage landscape from anywhere in the world. And then talking about adaptability, this is where we'll kind of close this out and get into the really cool stuff with Bo, but being very flexible, being very dynamic with how you deploy. We actually have two different deployment options when it comes to PowerStore. We've got your traditional storage array deployment model, which most IT storage administrators and IT staff would understand. But we're the first in the world to take VMware's hypervisor, and natively embed it in the storage array. So actually, in this deployment model, our storage environment is running on top of VMware in this specific methodology. So you can go down the traditional path of having our operating system running on bare metal in the storage array, or this net new capability of being able to run things directly on top of VMware, giving you some very unique capabilities like what we call apps on, and literally being able to run your application natively embedded in the storage array. So a really flexible deployment methodology of being able to do whatever it is that you want to do. We've also designed this system as a container-based operating environment. 6 years ago, containers was all the rage, and it was this up-and-coming technology in application development. So taking a monolithic, massive application and kind of breaking it apart into these smaller, more manageable microservices. Well, we've done that to storage. So the data path is actually a container. The NAS capabilities or file services, it's actually running as a container, right? So we've extrapolated this into a much more granular methodology, which means we're more agile. We can bring new features to market faster for our customers and allow customers these highly dynamic deployment methodologies. And then finally, when we talk about adaptability, it's adaptable in how you consume it. Right? What is it that you actually need to do? Do you want to consume storage by paying by the drip? So maybe more of a utility model where you only pay for what you're consuming, or do you want more options as far as guarantees? We supply all of that as well. So how you consume it financially is highly flexible. How we support it is guaranteed in every aspect. So regardless of what angle that you're looking at from a PowerStore perspective, we can accommodate any type of workload in an extremely high performance environment without any compromise in performance whatsoever. The highly programmable infrastructure. So looking at it from an external perspective, or completely integrated machine learning and artificial intelligence within the system that makes in real-time decisions for you and kind of gives you that hands-off operations approach. And then how you consume it, extremely flexible. How you deploy it can be flexible, so it can meet your needs in different scenarios. Not only that, but how you consume it, how you invest in it, and how you keep things fresh over time. This is one of the most innovative products that the world has ever seen. I'm crazy excited about it, to be a part of this journey, to be tapped, by our senior vice president of technology and products. Say, hey, Jody, we want you to come lead this venture technically from a power store perspective. And so I'm all in. But thanks for being great customers. Thanks to CDW for being one of our strongest and greatest global partners. And Bo, we'll turn it over to you guys, because I know there's a lot of excitement about talking hockey and getting on the ice.
Sounds good.
Great. Thanks, Jody. Appreciate the overview there. Bo, I promise I'll keep the Power Store questions to a minimum. Some might come in from the chat, so we'll see about that.
That's all good.
Hey, Bo, thanks so much for joining us on this call today. It's as a lifelong Canuck fan, it's pretty awesome for me to be able to chat with you here, and I know we've got a lot of people on the call here that are looking forward to hearing from you. So for those of you, I think everyone on the call probably knows Bo, but I thought I would just do a quick introduction. So Bo was born and raised near London, Ontario. In 2011, he was drafted 9th overall in the OHL by the London Knights. He excelled in the OHL and represented Canada internationally at the junior level. In 2013, he won the Wayne Gretzky 99 Award as playoff MVP. And in 2014, he was drafted 9th overall by the Vancouver Canucks in the NHL. In 2017, Bo was added to the All-Star roster, and in 2019, he was selected as the captain of the Vancouver Canucks. And probably most importantly, in 2020, in July, Bo became a father for the first time.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure I skipped over a couple things there. But...
No, you did a great job. That's all everybody needs to know.
Right on. Thanks, Wikipedia. So hey, let's jump into some questions here. I'm gonna kind of ask questions kind of going from over kind of the same timeline as I just went over, kind of start early and then go into your career and talk to you a little bit about as you've become captain of the Canuck, and maybe or talk to you about some leadership questions and things like that, things that I think all of the professionals on the call have can relate to as well. Maybe not the body checks, but other aspects of the professional world. So you were able to play junior hockey for the London Knights, which is kind of your hometown team, and your dad played for them. So that must have been pretty incredible at the time. What did it feel like to put that jersey on for the first time? And how did that compare to joining the NHL?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, honestly. You get drafted so young to go to the OHL. You get drafted as a 15-year-old and you start at 16. So it was pretty cool to get drafted by the Knights. I grew up watching. My dad had season tickets ever since I was little. So to be part of that organization was pretty special. It's the closest thing you're going to get to an NHL organization playing in junior. So it was an unbelievable 3 years. We went to 3 Memorial Cups in 3 years. Ended up winning twice. So I have no regrets playing there. And Mark and Dale Hunter, who own the Knights, are unbelievable people. And they always get their players to, the most prepared, I think, out of anybody in the CHL to go to the next level in the NHL.
Yeah, really set you up for success going forward.
For sure.
Yeah. How did that compare to your first NHL game? I mean, I know you probably didn't grow up cheering for the Canucks, but I'm sure it was an incredible thrill to be on the ice. Like, is it different? Was it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was surreal. I mean, you dream about it, ever since I was little. I even asked my grandma ever since I could walk or put skates on. I wanted to play in the NHL, and to do it for the first time, it was in Colorado against the Avalanche, and it was something I'll never forget. And I got to center Hank and Daniel Sedin for my first ever face-off.
What a great way to start.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my coach Willie Desjardins was pretty cool of him to do that for me. So
that's really neat.
But it was great. But Hank told me, you can take the draw, but I play center the rest of the shift. So I was like, all right, I'll settle for taking the face-off.
Put the rookie in his place. That's good.
Exactly.
That's good. Yeah. Hey, I got a question. What player from the past, maybe growing up watching or maybe reading about, would you just love to be on the ice with?
There's so many. I was just such a fan of the game. I really didn't have a specific player that I was really drawn to. I really like Mike Richards in his prime. He played for the Philadelphia Flyers and was just a heart and soul guy. He did whatever it took to win, captain of the Flyers. And I watched, believe it or not, I watched a ton of Wayne Gretzky clips. when I played in Toronto for a little bit. So my parents would drive me back and forth, and that's all I would watch is Wayne Gretzky clips, and just to see what that guy did and how he did it. It would be pretty remarkable to be on the same line or even on the ice with that guy.
I saw Rob's ears perk up there when you mentioned it.
Yeah. So. I'm an Oilers fan over there, eh?
We're working on it.
I apologize. Rightly
fine.
or wrongly. It's actually a decent segue into the next question here. And I want to qualify because I actually grew up in Coquitlam cheering on Richard Berdier for the early cup run there for the Canucks. But you mentioned Gretzky, and that team was fun to watch in the early 80s for sure. So I guess the question I have for you is, you had a chance to play with the 16-year-old Connor McDavid back in the World Juniors. Just curious on your impressions of him, even before he was drafted to an NHL team.
Yeah, I mean, he was just such a special talent from, he was exceptional status player as a 15-year-old in the OHL. Like, nobody does that. And for him to come in and play the way he did and just the way he does the things he does, he just does it at such an elite and high level. To have all that pressure on that kid ever since he's been in minor midget and playing minor hockey, and for him to do what he's done and continues to keep doing, proving people and leading that team is pretty. You have to respect a guy like that. So now he makes it a pain in my ass every time I play against him. It's tough to catch that guy, but it makes my job. That's what I want to do. I want to play against the best in the world and compete, and he definitely makes it tough on me.
Very cool. Very cool. This question, I feel a little bad. This one's from Peter, but I'll ask it on his behalf. So he checked out a YouTube video with you receiving the captain's jersey there from Daniel and Henrik, which was an incredible moment. Question is, what did you learn from leadership from your time playing with those guys?
I learned a ton. First of all, they're two of the most two of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet. The way they treat their peers, their teammates, their family. I just have so much respect for those two, and even not only as hockey players, but people in the community too. They always supporting the community, always reaching out to people and doing events and donating. I really respect them off the ice as well. But I think the biggest thing I took away from them would be how every single day it seemed like they always had a smile on their face, no matter what. If we lost 9-1 or if we won 7-2, like it didn't matter. They were always the same people. They come into the rink and it was a new day. And I think they just enjoyed what they did. They just love playing in the NHL. They love being around the guys, and they love their job. So I think that's the biggest thing I took away, just how positive they were as people. I think the second thing would just be how hard they worked. I don't think there's anybody on that team who worked harder than those two. They were winning fitness testing every single year. They're the first in all the drills and leading by example, and that's what you want in the captain.
Very cool. And just a follow up to that. So I'm just curious, because there's a lot of folks that are on the line that are in leadership positions, and you mentioned that you can have a bad game and they still came to work hard and came with a smile and a positive attitude. I'm guessing that had a good impact on the crew and on the team, right?
For sure. And like, they didn't have to say a lot. They led by example more than they spoke in the room. But when they did speak, you listened. And they just had that presence about them that you had so much respect of how hard they worked and they cared so much about their team's success and the organization that you just, I don't know, they were easy to follow. They were easy to warm up to and to look up to.
Nice. Peter, you're up.
Yeah. Hey, the Canucks have had some legendary captains over the years, from Orland Kurtenbach to Stan Smyl, Trevor Linden, Marcus Naslund, Henrik Sedin. You're now in that list of captains.
Yeah. When you put it like that, I don't know if I deserve it. Holy.
Well, yeah. I think you do, and I just wondered, what is it like to be in that role? Like, it's enough. It's one thing to make the NHL, and it's another thing altogether to be selected to captain a team. What's it feel like to be in that list?
It's very humbling, especially when you put it that way and name all those guys that have been the captain before me, and I couldn't be more honored and privileged to wear that letter on my jersey. I try to do my best to lead by example every single day, every single time I step on the ice in the community, and just learning from, again, like you said, Henrik and Daniel Sedin, and what they did, and just kind of taking that and running with it. This year definitely hasn't been the easiest year to get thrown in the captaincy. There's been a lot thrown at me, but at the end of the day, I think it's just going to make me make every other year hopefully feel like a breeze compared to this year, what's going on and everything that's going on in the world. So I've definitely learned a lot, and I'm just going to continue to keep learning.
Awesome. Hey, wanted to ask you, you became a father this year with your wife, Holly. How's that changed your perspective on the game? How's that changed your perspective on life? I know it's a big moment for most of us.
Hockey feels about this big compared to, how important he is in our life. I mean, once you have, a child of your own, it's just, there's nothing like it, and feels like nothing else matters except for, doing whatever you can to, to make his life the best. And we're so blessed to have him in our life, and I'm just enjoying the time with him right now, because it was tough being away from him in the bubble.
Yeah, how old was he when the bubble started? He was just
when the bubble started, I think he was 3 weeks old, but I had to leave and go in quarantine after a week.
Of course,
so that was really really tough on, especially my wife, and obviously myself. It was one of the worst days ever, having to leave them after him being a week gone, and just not knowing when you're going to come back. It could have been 3 weeks, it could have been 3 months. Like, he just didn't know, and I think that was the worst part, was the not knowing part of when you were going to see them again. So it definitely wasn't easy, but at the same time, my wife's an all-star, and she took care of him and did whatever she could until I got home. So I obviously can't thank her enough for doing that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Rob, back to you.
Thanks. So I guess we don't want to talk. I think we're all getting very tired of the pandemic, but you mentioned the bubble, and we'll keep things positive here. I think it was fantastic to actually get a playoff experience, and as fans to check out some hockey in the summer. I'm curious. I'm actually physically in Edmonton right now. I'm kind of a fan of the hotel, so I hope you had an odd good meal in there. But I'm just curious about the whole playoff experience in the bubble and what that was like.
Obviously, it was a little different. I mean, the hockey part was it was great. It was really competitive. It didn't feel like, obviously it's different now having fans in the building and energy swings and stuff like that. But at the same time, we were there for one goal, and that was to win a Stanley Cup. And it didn't matter if there was fans in the stands or no fans in the stands. It was, we wanted to win and come together and make our time in the bubble there worth it. And we just don't want to go there and just kind of, half-ass it, if you will. And we wanted to go in and try to win. And, everybody kind of came together. It brought us all together, and we ended up going on a pretty good run there. So, one win away from getting in the conference finals. So it's just, I think it was good for our team. I think it was good for us to bond and know that we have the type of team to do it and go the distance. And we're still young. We still got a lot of things to prove. And I think we made giant steps this year.
That's great. And I got some context into it from Peter. Of course, he's a huge Canucks fan. I was quite disappointed to see my team exit early. But he kind of commented on me because he followed obviously every game very closely, and he was very clear to say that he felt it was your expectation. Your expectation was to win the cup. From many folks' perspectives, you had a great run. So I guess the question is, what do you attribute your success in that playoff run, and how do you hopefully duplicate that in coming seasons?
Yeah, I think for all of us, like our main goal at the beginning of the season was to make the playoffs, and obviously when this thing happened and we knew we were going back, we knew we made it. And after that, there's nothing else. And we didn't want to just go in and say, hey, we had a good run, or we let's try to get past the first round and see how it goes. Like, no, we were there to win, and we wanted it just as bad as anybody else. Like I said, we wanted to go there to win a Stanley Cup, and I think everybody bought into that. Nobody was just there to go through the motions or wishing we would go back home. It was to do a job, and I think everybody bought into that. So that was nice to see.
Yeah, I'd say as a
Fantastic.
fan, that was really appreciated, right? Like it's great to see you guys just going for it and expecting to win. And I think you guys were up against the Stanley Cup champions, right? In St. Louis, and you guys played great against them and really gave Las Vegas everything, right? So yeah,
For sure.
it was just such a nice so many things in life just turned upside down with this pandemic, to just be able to turn on hockey at night and watch a game and watch a playoff game, and it we were in my house, we were all crazy about it. So
it was good. I hope that everybody was entertained, because it was fun to play.
Yeah, you mentioned the crowd and not being there. That seemed like something that was going to take away a lot from the game. I think, like, whistle to whistle, it was sort of they kind of threw in some fake cheering when someone threw a hit and stuff like that. But
they were a little off on some of those fake cheers, but
it felt a little odd. But it didn't really affect the the viewing, for sure. It was hockey. It was exceptional level hockey. So it was great to watch. Hey, speaking as a fan, and speaking about my family, when the game's on the line and we're all watching the last minutes of a game that's close, we're just a bunch of nervous wrecks, and and you guys always look so calm and focused. Is that, like, are you guys really good actors, or is that legitimate? Is that how do you keep it together?
Half and half. I say we're really good actors and try to keep our emotions in check. Obviously your heart's racing, but honestly I find it way easier to be a player than to be a fan, or somebody watching the game, where you have no control of what's gonna happen the next shift, or bouncing puck or whatever, right? So I think I'd like to be myself personally. I want to be in the game. I want to be in the action. I want to be the person that makes the difference and has a little bit of an outcome on what can happen in a game. And so it's a little bit different playing the game, and definitely a lot more fun to be playing than watching sometimes.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Hey, I got a question from one of the customers on the call today. So the question is, what's the season going to be like without Tanev and Markstrom? Those guys both have free agents and left, and were appear to be pretty massive pillars of the team. Like, who do you see stepping up to fill that role? Maybe, on the team. Who do you see coming in to fill that?
I think we got a lot of great leaders and great guys that can step in and take over. Obviously, it hurts to lose those guys, because I've played with them for like 5 years now. And Tanny's been there. Tana was there for my whole time, and Markey came in maybe a year after my rookie season, and it hurts. Obviously, they're great hockey players, but they're unbelievable people. Tanny, he really takes young guys under his wing. He took me out to dinners all the time when I first started. Same with Markey. Markey will do the same thing and kind of take guys under his wing. So, but I think the additions that we made are really going to help us. I mean, Nate Schmidt, who's going to step in, and he's a great hockey player, great defenseman. Braden Holtby, who's won a cup, and I've heard nothing but great things about him. So to bring that veteran presence back in after losing those guys is definitely going to help our team, and our young guys are going to hopefully make strides again next year, and the season coming up, and we'll be not much better.
That's great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that first game against Calgary. That's going to be fun to watch.
Yes. Oh yeah. The Calgary Canucks pretty much right now.
Pretty much, yeah. Right on. Rob, back to you.
So I got my question in front of me, but on that note, who do you consider the rival? Who gets you out of bed now yeah?
I don't like anybody. I don't like anybody. I always like playing against Toronto. I don't know. It's just, there's something about them. I don't know. I love playing against Toronto. I'd say Calgary is right up there. I don't know. Ever since my first year when we made the playoffs, that series against them, it just never sat well with me. In Edmonton too. I honestly, I love playing against Edmonton. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because they have two of the best players in the world. and I just want to try to do whatever I can to stop them. But I'd say those are my three biggest rivals.
And soon we'll have Seattle. That's going to be fun having someone so close.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm sure we'll have a couple of heated battles come from there.
Yeah.
So I guess since this is as you witnessed with respect to the Dell presentation, this is a technical audience, so we'd be remiss if we didn't ask a question on technology. So curious from your impression, how has technology changed the game? I guess both from a training, from a coaching perspective, from an interaction with the fans. Just curious on your thoughts.
It's me personally, I like it. There's some guys, the older guys or whatever that, might not like it so much, keeping stats and all this kind of stuff on them. But I think it's so cool, especially as a fan, to see how fast guys are going, how many shots on net they get, the statistics and stats on the game, I think is really cool. I think the game's evolving and it's changing. There's technology and there's so many things that have been done. We got replay right at our hands, iPads on the bench that we can see our play that we just made 30 seconds ago, or see if, what's happening on the power play or what's happening on breakouts and stuff like that we can make adjustments right on the fly like that. We don't have to wait for the intermission or wait till after the game to make those adjustments. So for us as players, I think it's great. It's great to have that kind of stuff. That's going to help you out during the games and help you get better, help your team get better personally. So no, I think it's great. I mean, we use technology all the time, even in practice, where they measure our heart rates, how fast we're going, if we push harder on our right leg than our left leg. It's so cool what you can learn from technology, and I love it. I think it's great to have in the game.
Yeah, it's and just a note, with respect to kids, as your son grows up, it's shocking how quickly, even at 3 years old, they can get very, very skilled with an iPad and
Yes.
they get hooked. It's interesting.
Exactly. We're gonna try to keep it away from for a little bit longer than 3. We're trying to keep his eyes off the TV for a little bit longer, but I'm sure he's gonna have my phone in his hand no time. So.
I don't know, Bo. He could
Just
be
the
your
way of the world.
Consultant. He can be giving you tips, right?
He's probably going to show me by 3 years old. He'll probably be showing me how to work my phone better than I can. So
yeah.
Perfect. And this call came in from someone on the line here. So imagine very few people on this call, including myself, have had to deal with body checks or blocking a shot. I don't know if I would have done that. But how do you deal with the pains and minor injuries, and how do you get through kind of obviously that happens a lot more with respect to the playoffs, where it gets a lot harder and you got to persevere and show no pain. So how does that work?
Yeah, it's I think it's like a stereotype, to be honest with you. It's like, if you're an athlete, you got to push through the pain all the time. And as hockey players, if you get an injury, it's just like, I don't know, you get you got to play through it. It's just the way it is. And I don't know if it's in our blood or whatever, but if you get injured, but if you can still skate, you're playing, and it doesn't matter what you have to do to help your team win. If you can get on the ice, you get on the ice. And it's difficult to play through, but at the same time, it'll heal. That's the best way I can put it is, it's going to heal. And, when it comes, especially in playoffs, when you're taking the hits and blocking the shots and stuff like that, it only hurts for a little bit, is what our coach usually says. When you block a shot, it only hurts for a little. So you gotta go through it. I've been through injuries. I've been through lots of stuff and lingering pains in playoffs, and it's not fun, but it's just something you push through.
Understood. All right, Peter, over to you.
Yeah, that's a bit of a segue. So in 2017-2018 season, you suffered a pretty bad injury in your foot. You broke a bone in your foot. Imagine it's really hard to get sidelined like that. I think you were really starting to you were a real asset for the team. I think another one of the centers was hurt at the same time. What's it like? You get immediately shelved and you're in the press box and you're watching the game and you can't do anything with it. What was that like in your career?
was terrible. It wasn't fun at all.
Oh, I'm shocked.
Yeah. No, it was, it's just one of those things that,
Yeah.
it's a freak accident. I should have never broken that bone. It's tough to break that bone. It's my talus bone in my ankle.
Hmm.
So, or in my foot. And, yeah, it's just a freak accident, but it was just like, it's one of those things where, you have no choice. And luckily I had a speedy recovery. I was back in 7 weeks. And it's tough watching your team though, and especially when they're struggling and there's nothing you can do about it, but you just have to sit and watch and show your support and cheer your teammates on and get give your input. I think is the biggest thing. Stay positive and try to get back as quick as possible to help your team. And for me, that was all that was on my mind, was just heal quick and try to get back and try to, we were kind of in a playoff run. We were a little trying to salvage a season. So I wanted to get back as quick as possible to make a difference. And unfortunately it was a little too late, but it was just one of those things where, it's tough to watch your team struggle. It's tough to be out and you want to be in there, but it's just, you have to go through the process and, just try to stay healthy and try to help your team win in other ways.
Yeah. So here's another, I think maybe a bit of an interesting question. So, all of the people on this call, myself included, we, as professionals, we deal with success, we deal with failure, we deal with challenges. Probably the difference between you and probably everyone else on this call is that, they don't replay our success and failures on the nightly sports cast over and over again for all to see and analyze and review and comment on. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with the spotlight that's on you in good times and in bad times?
Yeah, it's tough to deal with nowadays, especially with social media and, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all these things that, it's right there. It's at, the touch of your finger right away. After a hockey game, you'll see, there's, you log on to your Instagram, you log on to your Twitter, and you're being talked about, whether it's good, it's bad, if you had a bad game, how terrible you are. And, it's tough to see it. It's tough to wrap your head around, but, it's just, as an athlete, as a professional, you just have to accept it, that you're not going to be liked by everybody. And you just have to, look past that, try not to look at it, and just focus on, our coach made a good comment. It was just block out the white noise and focus on the team and focus on what we have to do to win. And if your team's successful, it's going to make you successful. And, everybody's going to have more, good things to say about you. And you're going to be on more highlight reel packs than you are on missed plays of the month. And, it's just, it's hard. It's tough to get away from, especially as a young guy coming into the league, where you're not, you don't have the followers and you don't have, all of a sudden you're basically pushed right into this as a young kid. And, maybe you have a couple bad games and you're not playing well, and you log on and you're just getting carved. And it's just, as a young person, and you don't have the mental toughness to deal with it, it's tough. And I think that's where, leadership comes in. Having somebody to talk to all the time, and that's something, for me as a young person, where, I got traded for Corey Schneider straight up. And, that was talked about all the time, and how this kid better be good. He better be, as good as Corey Schneider. And, who won this trade? Did the Devils win this trade? And I was 18-year-old, 17-year-old kid coming in. I'm like, I just wanted to draft to the NHL. That's all I wanted to do. And I get thrown into this, it's just something that you have to deal with. And I think honestly, it fueled me to be better and want to push to be better. So you can use it as fuel. You can, block it out, but I think just not let it get to you is the biggest thing, and talk to people about it.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I remember that time when, I think everyone thought Luongo was going to get traded, and then Schneider got traded, and it was a very interesting time, at least from my as a fan perspective, and I can only imagine the swirl of controversy you got pulled in. I guess to some extent you guys have each other on that too, right? Because you're all in that same boat, and some of the team didn't come into the league when there was really intense social media, and maybe some of the younger guys have dealt with social media for years and years growing up already. So Yeah, it's an interesting place you guys are in. Rob, I think back to you.
Yeah, I just can't imagine that level of pressure, and I don't know how you get over it, frankly, because it's bad enough when you do a bad presentation and it gets stuck on
Yeah.
YouTube and you just try to ignore it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's never fun when somebody tells you how bad you suck, right? So it's
Yeah.
just something that you have to deal with and get over, and give a great presentation next time. Like, so we're gonna look at it.
There you
There's
go.
always tomorrow.
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess this question comes in. It's again on leadership and I guess on teams, and we're kind of curious as you leading a professional sports team. There must be a time where you've got conflict on the team with some of your best players. I don't know if you can maybe speak to a time where you had to intervene, or how do you deal with that? When that's happening, to get the group back on the same page and singing from the same hymn book.
Yeah, like for me, I think it's been pretty easy. We've got such a great group, a tight knit group you know, that respect each other and want the same things and have the same goals. So there's not too many conflicts, but if there is, I have my assistant captains, I have older guys in the team that kind of help me navigate through things, approach guys, just talk things through. I think that's the biggest thing. You can't let things stir and there be, controversy within the group, because then it affects everybody, and then everybody, feels down or is worried about something other than what we're trying to do, and that's win hockey games. And I think it's best to nip it in the butt right away and figure out what's going on and move on from it.
That's an interesting point too. I was going to ask you, being in the bubble as long as you were, that's a really unusual experience, right? As a hockey player, like road trips are road trips, but they're, a couple of weeks at most kind of thing. And to just be all together in that way. They talk about, if you're having trouble in your relationship right now, the pandemic's making that worse, right? Because you're all stuck together, or if you've got a great relationship, it's making it stronger. I would imagine, what you said about being a close team, like how did the bubble and that closeness and just being together and not really having an option, did that help the Canucks? Was that a positive thing for team?
Yeah, I think so. I like I said, we all got along really well, so it made it that much easier. But no, I think it brought definitely guys that you wouldn't hang out with a lot at home or on the road or whatever. I think it brought us closer. Different guys that even new guys on the team that were hanging out with us a little bit more. I think it just brought everybody that much closer together, and it made our team stronger. So I think it had some positive things for sure. By the end of it, I think maybe a couple of us were getting sick of each other, but for the most part, it was good to have everybody's support, because we're all going through the same thing. We're all missing our families, but at the same time, we all had the same goal.
Yeah. Rob, back to you. Sorry to jump in there.
All right. No, absolutely. I think we're going to ask a couple of light questions now, just because I got a bit of the backstory there and mentioned it on the pre-call. I was chatting with my daughter in the drive-through at Starbucks, and I said, "Hey, I get to interview the captain of the Canucks. I mean, what am I going to ask him?" And she's like, "Well, what's his? Ask him, like, what's his favorite color?" And I'm like, "I don't know about that." But then she actually came up with what's his Starbucks order, and I think that's a fantastic question. So curious, what do you like at Starbucks if you go?
That's a great question. I told you earlier, because my wife and I pretty much go every single day. Honestly, I think we're keeping the Starbucks down the street afloat. That's how much we go and how much we're donating every single day to Starbucks. So I usually either get the Americano Misto, the caramel brulee that's out right now. Really good order. I really recommend that. And we're a big cold brew family, so we love our cold brews. The Irish cream cold brew right now.
Nice.
Half sweet though, half sweet, obviously, because I got to keep my figure.
Fantastic.
And if you guys haven't had a marshmallow dream bar from Starbucks yet, treat yourselves. Everybody on the call.
I have not.
Right.
I get the kids.
If you like Rice Krispie Squares, try it out.
I will try it out for sure. I end up getting my kids the snowman cookie because they always get snowman cookies added to the order.
Nice.
Yeah, adds it up.
They're not very good.
No.
No, they're amazing. I've had my fair share of snowman cookies.
Excellent. I'll ask one other quick one and then Peter, hand it off to you. What's your favorite junk food? I know what mine is, so just curious.
Ooh, I have a big sweet tooth, so I don't know, I'm a big ice cream guy, so I love my ice cream. Yeah, vanilla ice cream or butterscotch, really good. And okay, I'll do one more. Is chocolate chip cookies. I love chocolate chip cookies too.
Nice.
Hey, I got a really good question came in here on the chat. It's when new guys join the team, where do you recommend they go for dinner in Vancouver, assuming times go back to normal?
That's a great question.
Good, yeah, really good question. Man, there's so many good restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big steak guy. I love steak. So the new restaurant that just opened, actually our owners own it, of the team, Elisa, downtown in Yaletown. It's phenomenal food. It's they got some of the best steaks and Wagyu beef and stuff like that. So treat yourselves to one of those dinner nights.
That's great. Yeah, we are in normal times we're all working in downtown Vancouver, so that's good advice. I think I might check that one out.
Yeah.
What's your favorite sport besides hockey? Either to play or to watch, or
I love golf. I'm not great at it, but I like it. It's great to get out and watch and play it, just to get your mind off the game a little bit and think of something else and do something else. And I love watching the game too. So a big golf fan.
So maybe just to interject on that, is there a particular individual in sport that hockey or not, that you just kind of worship? In my case, I'm a tennis fan, so for me, it's Roger Federer and what he's accomplished in terms of his majors. But just curious, hockey or not, if you have some idols in sport there.
I'm a big. I like Tiger Woods. I really love watching Tiger play. I think his mental toughness is phenomenal to watch, and even some of the stuff that I've read and document, like segments I've watched on him of what he goes through and the way he thinks is pretty remarkable. And what he's done to come back from the injuries and everything that he's done, the mental toughness and the work ethic to get back and do what he's done is just phenomenal to me. So he'd be one of the guys for sure.
So what did you think of Dustin's performance in the Masters? Because some folks were saying it was Tiger-like, right?
It was something to watch. I got up with the little man at 7 a.m. and I watched it until it ended. Like I was hooked, and it was pretty impressive to watch what that guy does. When that guy is on and he's doing what he does, there's nobody who can stop him. And he definitely proved that in the Masters there.
Yeah, agreed. So over to you, Peter.
Yeah, so it's another light one we have for you is like, where's your favorite vacation spot when you get, again, under normal circumstances, when you can just get away? What does that mean for you?
Honestly, vacation spot. I'm trying to think. Like my wife is originally from Muskoka. I don't know if you guys know, it's like cottage country, lots of lakes. We go up there every once in a while and see her family and being around there is pretty awesome. My wife also rides horses, so we go to a lot of the horse shows. So those are kind of in the summertime, we go to a lot of horse shows. So those are kind of my escapes from the game, where you just go and hang out and watch her do what she loves to do. And she's really good at it too. So, it's just kind of getting away and kind of deloading and getting your mind off things. So I'd say those are the things I'd like to do in the summertime, just to kind of deload.
Yeah, I imagine after a season of travel, you don't want to really go to an airport For
No, yeah, I try to stay away. We might do a little vacation here and there. We try to mix it up a little bit. We went to Italy
yeah,
for our honeymoon,
nice.
which was amazing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but obviously, kind of threw a wrench in everything, this pandemic thing, to do anything right now. But yeah, no, definitely have to get somewhere hot here after this thing all ends.
So we're getting near the end here. I got one question that came in on the chat that I wanted to ask you, and that was kind of back to hockey here. Is it challenging to kind of build chemistry when sometimes lines are getting changed middle of the game? Like how do you kind of deal with that, right? Because everyone has their different places they go and different things to expect. Is that a challenging thing when that gets thrown at you?
Yeah, it's really challenging, and I can't relate to the tech world or anything like that when different things are thrown at you guys. But when the coach tells you that you're going to be playing with somebody different that you haven't been playing with all year that night, it definitely, you have to adjust really quickly, and you have to adjust on the fly. Sometimes things change during the game, and shift by shift, so you have to adjust. And you have to have trust in your teammates. I think is the biggest thing is you're going to trust that he's going to do the job that the other guy was doing before. And for me to kind of navigate through that, and everybody goes through the same thing on the team, so I'm not the only one that has to go through it. But it is a challenge, especially when you find chemistry with a certain person. But it's just something that you have to work through and talk. I think is the biggest thing, whether you're talking to him on the bench or before the game, of what the game plan is going to be that night. And I think fine, that definitely helps.
Yeah, thanks for sending that question, and that's a good one. I think maybe we're at the top of the hour here. I had one power store question for you, but I think I'm going to have a Dell one, but I think I'll have to leave that for the next call we do. So, you escaped.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have been a great answer of any tech questions today, but
well, for the next call.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I just want to thank you so much for doing this with us. Very, very interesting, just on a personal level to be able to talk with you, but I think this was interesting for the audience as well. I trust. Thanks a lot for doing this, Bo. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, and stay safe, everybody. We'll get through it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bo. This is the best part of my day, and certainly Peter's day. And just want to thank the clients for jumping on, and thank you again for your time. Much appreciated.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, folks.
Bye, everyone.